everyone, I'm back. I'm gonna make another video. This time I will just be drawing and we'll see what turns out. I have felt really crappy today, so I'm just gonna draw stuff that I love to draw. And there's a certain pose that I do more than anything, and it's this one. And basically it's a character who is turning 3/4 face, turning to look at the camera and smile. I just love doing it. It's my macaroni and cheese. Glasses. Okay, well, I guess it has turned into Miles Edgeworth from the Ace Attorney series. Mitsurugi. Which means I get to draw a cravat. Okay. I'm using a number 2H pencil. You see? Which is a very light pencil, and if you can't see very well, that gives you a better idea of what it looks like. I use this because it's very light, and light pencils are easier to ink over. The heavy graphite pencils, the ink sometimes just pools on the graphite, and then you'll never get it off. You'll never get the graphite off, and then when you try to do the inking over it, it never really goes black. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Whoa, you're fun. You're fun to draw. Okay, so now I'm at a point where I'm kind of going, do I want to ink first? Do I want to watercolor first? And I think for him, I'm going to watercolor. And because I know I'm going to be inking, I'm just going to splash on a little bit of color. Okay, so I don't have to do a whole lot, because the ink is going to take over. But I do need to draw an ear properly. And in the right place. Oh my god. Rana, what's wrong with you today? Like I said, I feel ugh. Okay. Sketch finito. So let's see. I'm gonna grab my watercolors here. I'm doing this horizontal or vertical format, but it's kind of a square vertical, so it's not really that like tall or whatever. Okay, fresh water. Brushes. I'm gonna start with this one. Okay. He has gray hair, which is really, really pretty. Why was I not ready? I'm so out of it today. Completely out of it today. I overslept, and I mean, it's Sunday. It's Sunday, whatever. Right? Overslept. Who cares? But that's going to throw my sleep schedule off, and I'm just feeling gross. Okay, gray. Alright, when I'm doing this, I'm going to start out with a lot of water in here. And I don't care if it's splotchy, because again, I'm going to ink, and I'm kind of going for this really casual look to the whole thing. Make him look a little older. Oh my goodness, he looks older. He has very pale skin, but he's not very tan, so we're gonna go for pink. Pink and gray mixed. Again, this is the looking at the camera pose, so we're going to assume that the light is coming from the camera side. And you need a little more pink for, this is sort of a speed paint. That should actually be wet as I go. I know this looks like a clown nose, but it's okay because it's all going to blend in, and once I get the other layers in, it'll be fine. The layers of ink and white. Okay. White collar. White means gray. White cravat. White means cream, which is brown, which is orange. And burgundy. We're going to slosh some water on here and let the watercolors do what they do. I didn't clean my jar. It's okay. Okay. Splashes of color. Now I gotta go in one more time. Or we'll have no depth in here at all. Contrast creates depth as well as focus. And then also color theory. If you know your colors, if you play around with color theory, that will also create depth. So I can make a warm red, turn it into a pink. So I have a warm pink here. And if I put that warm pink with the cat hair on it, no. If I put that warm pink on his cheeks, and on his nose, although it's not quite warm enough because there's still some burgundy on there. Okay, warm pink. Then that will come forward while everything else pushes back. Yay. Okay. Next, I'm going to do his eyes. And what do I want? I need another brush. I need a different brush. I guess a small one. I guess this one will do. I'm trying to see if I have another brush here, but that's okay. Whatever. This one will do. Okay, since I have so much gray in here, I'm going to change the gray color a little bit. Okay, now a little bit of detail in his mouth. Woohoo! Again, this is how I'm doing it, knowing that I will be inking it on top of this. Right? I'm going to be putting ink all over here. Watercolors. Do what I want you to do. He looks kind of spooky right now. Spooky. Okay, there's one more trick I'm gonna do. Where's my fan? Sorry about this part, but it really does work. Fan. Okay. This is dry enough. Okay. And one more thing you can do, because he has glasses, we're going to take some green. Glass is green. It reads, we read it as green. We understand it as green. So if I put green wash, Again, cat hair. It's shedding season right here. And I'm going to take some of this off. And now he has glasses. Okay. I'm going to do some dark gray on those glasses. I use Payne's Gray instead of black. Mostly because it has a lot more depth. If you go straight black onto things, they will often get muddy. And you'll lose depth, they'll flatten out, and it doesn't really work very well. Okay, I'm happy. I mean, I'd be happy with this even just as it is, but I'm going to ink over it. I mean, not as it is, I mean, working in it some more and stuff like that. But I'm going to do two more things. So I'm going to ink over it, and then the pens that I'm using for inking, I could go in with my... I should probably just use... Decisions. Because what I could do... Well, I have one more thing that I have to fix here. That goes under, and you need some of this right here. Okay. Okay, so I have two options. This is option number 1, which is inking with a brush. And I have some black. This is option number 2. And actually, I have 3 options, but my other one I'm not going to use. Nah, because it bleeds too much. Okay, this is actually a waterproof, not really a brush pen. It's kind of a brush pen. You get some line weight variation on here, but it isn't really a brush. So I could use this, and I often use these, carry these around when I'm sketching and stuff like that. But I think, and see, I have all 3. I have the small, medium, and large. I think because I already have my brush out, I'm just going to ink with a brush, and then you guys can see brush inking. Okay, ink, shake, 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 shake. So I really need to wait for this to dry. If I start inking on this right now, as wet as it is going to bleed like mad. So what I think I'm going to do while I'm shaking this is I'm going to pause. I'll go make coffee, and then I'll start back in. And you guys won't have to wait because magic. Okay? Okay. I still need the same things here. I wanted to show you something before I get started. This brushes, okay. I have fumbling fingers. I'm a little bit older, and I can't hold on to things as easily anymore. So these brushes that are very lightweight and they're very slippery, I have a hard time holding them. So what I do is I get this athletic bandage. All right. This stuff is amazing. It's this incredible multi-tool, and I use it as a gripper for my brushes. So what I can do is I can actually just wrap my brush with this, and now I've got a gripper, and it holds so much better, and the weight is also distributed better, because right before it had a kind of a strange distribution of the weight. But I use it as a non-slip surface for almost everything. Okay, so a couple of rules when we're brushing with ink. So first of all, let's talk about the parts of a brush. This metal part is called the ferrule. And the ferrule is what holds all of these, the bristles in place. Now this is a natural fiber brush. This is a Kolinsky Sable. It's a really high quality brush. I think I probably paid like 20 bucks for it. And so it's a very high quality brush, and I don't want to ruin it. What happens is if you get too much ink on here, it will go up and bleed into the ferrule. Once it is in there, the ink will never come out again. So there are certain things that we have to do. First of all, I am not going to take my brush and just dip it into the ink pot. We don't have a whole lot of control when I do that. So what I do is I pour a little bit of ink. Let's get these bubbled out. I really shook this up because I haven't used this particular ink in a while. I'm going to pour some ink into here. All right. Then, so that's going to be my ink jar right there. Then when I do ink, I'm not going to stick my brush all the way in. I just put the tip of the brush in. Some of it will come up. You can see it's up to about here, but it's not all the way up in the ferrule. I have plenty of ink on this brush. I can actually ink a lot with this. I'm just going to touch it on the edge of the paper towel to get a little excess off. This is not an intuitive way to do this. And then I'm going to start inking. When I need more ink, I'm going into the water, wash it off again. Still have my water here. It's watercolor water, but it doesn't matter because I'm inking. That's lighter. That's lighter than this. Okay, so I will wash it off every single time I go back for more ink. I want to make sure that ink doesn't go up into the ferrule. Okay, so let's get started. We ink from, if I'm right-handed, I go from upper left-hand corner down to lower right-hand corner. If I'm left-handed, I go from the other way. Basically, what you do is you don't want to drag your hand through the ink. So we're going to start up here. And inking, you can push or pull. You can, but we generally have to pull to get a nice clean line. And if I'm careful, I can get almost as thin a line with my brush. No, I can get even thinner lines with my brush than I could with using a pen. Why do I use brush? Because line weight variation is really important. I am not a digital artist, and every time I see digital artists who use their brush tools well, I am so impressed. My biggest problem with digital art is that I just can't get the same line weight variation that I do when I'm inking. And I don't have to worry too much about because I'm not using a whole lot of ink today. I don't finish my sentences when I'm concentrating. I'm doing light inking today, so I just want to do a few areas and show you how the difference in line weight works. Okay, so here I've done 3 different areas. And as you can see, this part has a really heavy line. This part has much lighter and more delicate lines. And then I'm back to heavy lines over here. The reason I want to do that is because I want the central focus with the light lines to be on his face. And everything else can be a little bit more casual. That's a good word, casual. Okay, I'm still not nearly finished with how much ink I have on here. These brushes really hold a lot of ink. As you can see, I'm just starting to get to the point where there's some dry brushing going on, but not even a whole lot there. I can still go in and get some good dark lines out of this. Now, I haven't inked in a long time like this, so I'm making a lot of mistakes, but overall, this is pretty much the way that I work. Mostly, I just haven't had time at, much time at home lately. Okay, we're going this way and then over across. Okay. Now, back into the water, wash off the brush, dry it off on the paper towel. Now, a good brush when you roll it, it'll come to a real nice point. Almost like you know, a pen point. That's what you want. Some brushes will start to fork, and once they fork, there's not a whole lot you can do. Unless you want forked drawings, which I use that for spotting blacks and things like that. Okay, get some ink on it. Take the excess off, and we're back in business. Now, he has these amazing glasses that are heavy on the top. And then almost invisible underneath. Okay, and that extends over here, behind his hair. Boom, 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 boom. Now, underneath the glasses, we actually don't need a whole lot of detail because we have that watercolor. But I'm going to put some more details in his hair on this side. Okay, I'm almost ready for... Oh, no, I didn't do... That's whatever. Talking to myself. Whoa, you're looking good, man. Dude, you are seriously the styling one. Okay. Let's get you that cravat. I am going loosely with my watercolor lines. Should dry brush in there somewhere. But I'm not going exactly, and that's fine. Okay, now, if I look here, oh, I just splashed water on you. If I look at it, I mean, he looks pretty good right now. Pretty good. Sign name. No, not quite. There are two things that I want to do. I want to show you how to do a watercolor wash, or an ink wash, and then I want to show you how to do a watercolor technique. In sort of the post-production mode. Alright, so I'm gonna reach up here for this is one of my watercolor palettes, but I'm going to pirate one of these and use that for ink. So I'm gonna wipe this out. When you do an ink wash, it isn't just a matter of putting water on your brush so you have lots of water, and then you put ink on your brush so you have a little bit of ink. No, what we're going to do is we're going to make the tint shade value. Haha. The value of ink that I want. And the way I do that, I take a scrap of the same kind of paper, and I'm going to mix this ink with the water, and I'm going to see what it looks like. So that is my tone right now, my value. It could be a tone too, because tone is mixing black and white. I want it a little darker. That's that one. That's not bad. I didn't put enough in there. It needs darker. So what I'm doing is I'm making the exact kind of ink I want, the exact gray. That one is close, but I'm going to slightly more, and I think that'll be it. Yep, that's good. That's good. I want that. So there's that nice kind of darker. Okay. Larger brush, not huge. This one's a size 4. Again, Kolinsky Sable. This is the epitome of brushes for this. Okay, I'm going to start putting in some ink washes. Now this ink is warm black, but it's a warm black that has a lot of depth to it. So watercolor black, if you get like Ivory Black or Mars Black or one of those, they're warm blacks. That's okay, but the problem is that they go flat very fast because of the way that the watercolor pigments are, or because of what they are. And ink are carbon particles underneath here and suspended in a liquid. So it's a little bit different than the watercolors. And what happens is that when you ink, the ink itself is going to have its own depth to it, just because of the nature of the ink and what it's made of. So if I'm putting shadows in here, I'm going to use ink for it, because then what it's going to do is it's going to layer on with a real depth. Now I can't move it around as easily as watercolor. Once it's down, even if it's a little bit dry, it's done. It's there. We're not moving again. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so here we go. Almost finished. And you see how much depth that just puts in right here? Just a couple of swipes. And then this hair pushes way back. Okay, so there's one more thing that we need to do. And that is we're going to go in with white. Now I have two options for white. I can use my acrylic paint. But today I'm going to show, now I've used that the last couple of times, but I'm going to show you about using this. This is a Korean painting color. Korean painting color. This one is a Shinhan. I'm a huge fan of Shinhan watercolors. All of the watercolors that I use are basically Shinhan watercolors. And the gouache that I use is Shinhan. But what this is it's a really white pigment that doesn't dry like gouache. It's more opaque than watercolor, and it's just like a really nice white. And I got gold in there somehow. Oof. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on a little piece of plastic. You get these plastic bags for all kinds of things. You get whatever in, and it comes in a plastic bag. These small pieces of plastic. I don't like just throwing away plastic. I like using it as many times as I can. So I'm going to put some on here, and this will be my own white little palette. Now I put a lot on there. That's okay. Like watercolors, you can reconstitute this. Okay, my watercolor water is really dirty right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little cup. And I'm going to pour some clean water into it. Because I do not want to mix my white with ink and watercolor. This is sort of the last stage. Oh, I should probably take care of this before my cat comes in and destroys it. Ink, you're going away. Okay, good. So let's get started. Going back to the small brush. Okay. And I'm going to get it wet with the clean water. I dipped it in the other water because it still had a little bit of ink on it. So I'm just wash it off there, wash it off here. Paper towel. Doesn't matter if the paper towel is dirty, it's going in the laundry today. You guys get better quality paper towels and then just throw them in the wash. Wash them, use them again. Okay, I'm going to show you what this does. So this is a super white pigment. Okay. First, let's put some eye shinies in your eye. Okay. Get some water in here. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, sorry. I just moved everything. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Do you see just how white this is against even gray? It's really nice. It is so nice. And we can easily, like, putting glares in his glasses. Nose, mouth, cheeks, eyebrow there, cheek there, bottom of his earlobe, a little bit, too much. You can also take it off like watercolor. It works a lot like watercolor. There we go. So it has like the advantages of watercolor and gouache. I suppose the only disadvantage is that it uses glycerin. So glycerin is animal based. If you're vegan, don't get these colors. Just don't. I mean, they're not gonna do you any good. Okay. But you're gonna have to do, just like vegan soap, you have to avoid glycerin things, right? Okay. And one more thing we're gonna do. I told you we're gonna put in white, and then we're gonna do a watercolor technique. So now I have Miles Edgeworth, and we all know that he is the man in red, and as opposed to the man in blue. I suppose I should use the Japanese names for them too. Mitsurugi. Naruhodo. I like Naruhodo better. Anyway. Okay. これはMitsurugi。そしてNaruhodoは青いです。Mitsurugiは赤いです。これは Okay, so I'm going to put water down here. I'm getting it really wet, but I'm not going on top of my dry drawing. I'm just going in the back, okay? And we're going to turn it around so I do a good job here. Turn your page! This is another thing that just amazes me with digital artists. I am fascinated by what they can do. Okay, I know that there are some people who just copy art on their whatever digital. It's okay, fine. People copy using traditional methods too. It's a way to learn. However, the people who do actual, like, original drawings just straight digitally, I have no idea how you can do that. I'm such a, I guess, strong traditional artist. I have tried in the past and it hasn't ever really worked for me. Now, he has a very cool red, so we're going to use a warm blue behind him. And this is just a nod to his partner. Oops, did I say partner? I mean his rival, who he calls a partner. Okay, if you guys don't know about the relationship between those two men, you're probably not watching the video. It's actually to the point where Nintendo has acknowledged it. They're like, dudes, come on. This is like the relationship of the century. They've done everything but the deed. Which is fine. I like that, actually, kind of. Because that leaves more room for fan service. Okay, so I'm going to let the water take this color and do what it wants with it. And I have different blues in here. They're mostly warm. I'm going to put in some cool blue too. Now, you would think that with Mitsurugi being so pale and this being so intense, it would detract from it, but it actually accents him. Because if he's pale and the page is pale, then we just see, you know, pale page. But now I don't need to go back down here because this is going to be his jacket. And we don't care about his jacket. But I do need to go along his face. And this is where I have to be really careful because if I don't do this right, he's going to have a blue face. Which, I don't know, whatever. That would be cool too. You do what you want. Where's my light blue? There it is. Warm blue, cool blue, warm gray, you can kind of see down here, like it's already starting to do fun things. This is his aura of prosecuting authority. That certain defense attorneys do not respect, or they learn to respect later in the story. No spoilers. Play the games. Play the games. Play all the games. All of the games. Maybe not his game because it's a little bit lame, but there are some fun characters in the game. And since this is a character-driven story anyway, play the games. Okay, almost finished. Almost finished. Almost finished. We're going to do one little thing. We're going to let water do what water does. It has to dry. It has to really dry before you can see what it is. So, this is actually a real technique, by the way. Fanning your artwork so that it will dry faster. You watch, it will work. I usually have a hairdryer, but lazy. Also, no place to plug it in right here. Mitsurugi. Okay, you can kind of see, if I hold it at an angle, you can kind of see how it's gonna look, and the glare isn't on there so bad. There we go. There he is! Yay! I finished one. I'm gonna sign it. Getting some stuff done. See, that's how this pen works. Looks pretty good, huh? Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna dry, and then after that's dry, maybe I will have to do a drawing of his partner. Yay. Thank you very much for watching this. I'm really happy that you watched my video. I'm going to try to put up a lot more content, especially over the next couple of weeks, because I have some time off. And then if you like this, please click the like button. It really helps. And subscribe if you want to watch more. Okay? And there's also, you know, I put links to my Tumblr and things like that in the description. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Shake your camera.